The first rule of dating the CEO, never let anyone find out. The second rule, pretend you don't know each other the moment you step into the office. Easy. Except my boyfriend happened to be the coldest, most intimidating CEO in the entire country. Good morning, Mr. Seo. Every employee bowed as Seo, the 28-year-old CEO of Aurora Group, entered the building in a tailored black suit. His sharp eyes swept across the lobby, and the entire room fell silent. He looked powerful, untouchable, the kind of man who could fire someone with just one look. He walked right past me, not even a glance. Rude, I muttered under my breath. My coworker, Mina, nudged me. Careful. If he hears you, you'll be unemployed before lunch. I forced a smile. If only you knew. Because last night, that same terrifying CEO had been curled up beside me in bed, stealing my blanket while whining, babe. 5 more minutes. I was Ethan Reyes, 24 years old, marketing assistant, and secretly dating my boss. We'd been together for 8 months. Nobody knew. Not HR. Not our coworkers. Not even his assistant. Only our golden retriever, Tofu. At exactly noon, my phone vibrated. CEO, come to my office. I sighed. Here we go. The moment I stepped inside, Jiho locked the door. His cold expression disappeared instantly. He wrapped his arms around my waist and buried his face in my shoulder. I missed you. I laughed. We've been apart for 4 hours. Longest 4 hours of my life. This morning you ignored me. I had to. You walked past me like I owed you money. He looked guilty. Sorry. I crossed my arms dramatically. I deserve compensation. What kind? Coffee. Donne? And dinner. Donne? A vacation. You're getting greedy. I grinned. You love me anyway. He kissed my forehead. Unfortunately, someone knocked. Both of us froze. Sir. It was his secretary. Jiho instantly stepped away, fixing his tie. His CEO face returned in seconds. Come in. The secretary entered. Sir, the board meeting starts in 10 minutes. Jiho nodded. I'll be there. The secretary glanced at me. You can leave now. Yes, ma'am. I walked out as professionally as possible. The moment the door closed behind me, I burst out laughing. Dating to different people was exhausting. Because at home, he was my clingy boyfriend. At work, he was my terrifying CEO. And somehow, I had to survive both. By Wednesday morning, the office was buzzing. Did you hear? I heard the CEO personally reviewed someone's presentation. No way. He never does that. I quietly sipped my coffee, pretending not to listen. If only they knew the CEO had spent half the night lying on my lap, complaining that his neck hurt after reviewing everyone's presentations. Morning, Ethan. Mina waved from the next desk. You've been assigned to present a new marketing campaign to the CEO this afternoon. I nearly choked on my coffee. Me? Yep. Good luck. He'll tear you apart if your slides aren't perfect. I forced a smile. Or he'll text me later asking if I ate lunch. That afternoon, the conference room was packed. Executives, managers, department heads, and at the end of the table sat Seo Jiho. His expression was as unreadable as ever. Begin. I took a deep breath and started my presentation. For 20 minutes, the room stayed silent. When I finished, Jiho folded his hands. Not bad. The room collectively gasped. Not bad. That was practically the highest compliment he'd ever given anyone. One manager blinked in disbelief. Sir? Do you have any revisions? Jiho looked at me for a second before answering. Just a few. Overall, it's well done. I knew exactly why. He wasn't going easy on me. He genuinely liked the work. Still, the suspicious looks from my coworkers made my stomach twist. After the meeting, Mina rushed over. Ethan. Yeah. How did you survive? I prepared a lot. She narrowed her eyes. The CEO almost smiled at you. What? No, he didn't. He definitely did. I laughed awkwardly. Please don't investigate any further. That evening, after everyone had gone home, I slipped into the CEO's office. Jiho looked up from his laptop. You did great today. I almost died from stress. You looked cute. I was presenting. You were still cute. I groaned while he laughed softly. Then he reached into a drawer and handed me a small paper bag. What's this? Open it. Inside was my favorite strawberry cheesecake from the cafe near our apartment. My eyes widened. You went out to buy this. I had it delivered. You remembered. You mentioned last week that you were craving it. My heart melted. You spoil me too much. He stood, walked over, and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. I can't help it. Before I could answer, there was a sudden knock on the door. Knock, knock. Both of us froze. The doorknob slowly turned. Sir? I forgot my... The door opened. Standing there was Jiho's assistant. His eyes landed on the two of us far closer than coworkers should ever be. Silence filled the room. My heart stopped. For 3 painfully long seconds, nobody moved. Jiho calmly stepped back, adjusting his suit jacket as if nothing had happened. His assistant, Daniel, blinked once. I left my tablet. Oh, Jiho replied in his usual cold voice. It's on the desk. Daniel slowly walked in, grabbed the tablet, and glanced at me. Ethan? Why, yes. What are you doing here this late? My brain completely shut down. Jiho answered before I could embarrass myself. I asked him to revise the marketing proposal. Daniel nodded. Understood. Have a good evening, sir. The door closed. The second we heard the elevator ding, I collapsed into the couch. I almost had a heart attack. Jiho chuckled. You panicked too easily. Too easily. We were this close to getting exposed. He held up two fingers barely an inch apart. That close. I glared at him. This isn't funny. He smiled, then gently took my hand. I won't let anything happen to us. The warmth in his voice made my frustration disappear. You're unfair. I know. The next morning, rumors spread through the office like wildfire. I heard Ethan stayed in the CEO's office until almost 8. Seriously, was he getting scolded? I'd cry if I had to stay alone with Mr. Seo. Mina leaned over my desk. So, what happened? I scratched the back of my neck. He wanted revisions. That explains it. I sighed in relief. Crisis. Avoided. Or so I thought. At lunch, Ethan headed to the cafe across the street. Just as he reached for the last chocolate muffin, another hand grabbed it. He looked up. Sir, Jiho, in casual clothes, sunglasses, and a baseball cap. What are you doing here? I came to buy lunch. You own the building. I'm still allowed to eat. Ethan laughed. You just stole my muffin. Jiho glanced at the muffin, then quietly handed it to him. You wanted it more. A girl sitting nearby squealed softly. Oh my gosh, did you see that? The CEO gave his muffin to that employee. There. Kinda cute. Ethan's eyes widened. Cute. He grabbed the muffin and hurried out before anyone could stare any longer. Jiho watched him leave with the tiniest smile. Unfortunately, someone else noticed that smile too. From the second floor, Daniel lowered his coffee cup. Interesting. His eyes followed Ethan all the way down the street. I think. I'm starting to figure it out. Ethan spent the entire weekend worrying. What if Daniel really knows? Jiho looked up from the kitchen, flipping pancakes. Then he'll tell me, you're way too calm. I'm making breakfast. I'm having a crisis. Jiho walked over with a plate of pancakes shaped like little hearts. You can't panic on an empty stomach. Ethan stared at the pancakes before laughing. You're impossible. Monday arrived far too quickly. The moment Ethan stepped into the office, he noticed Daniel standing beside his desk. Mr. Ethan. Ethan froze. Why yes, the CEO would like to see you. Now, Daniel smiled politely. Now, every coworker looked over. Mina whispered, good luck. Try not to get fired. Ethan forced a smile. I hope I don't get exposed instead. Inside the CEO's office, Jiho looked up from a stack of documents. You wanted to see me? Before Jiho could answer, Daniel closed the door behind them. I'll make this quick, Daniel said. Ethan felt his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Daniel adjusted his glasses. Mr. Seo. Yes. I know. Silence. Jiho's expression didn't change. No, what? Daniel sighed. You look at Ethan differently than everyone else. Ethan almost stopped breathing. I've worked with you for 6 years, sir. I've never seen you smile at an employee. Jiho remained calm. And yesterday, I accidentally saw your phone screen. Ethan slowly turned to Jiho. Your phone? Daniel nodded. The wallpaper. Jiho closed his eyes for a second. I forgot to change it. Ethan blinked. Wait. Daniel cleared his throat. It was a selfie of the two of you wearing matching pajamas. Ethan buried his face in his hands. I'm moving to another country. Jiho let out a quiet laugh. Daniel looked between them. I have no intention of telling anyone. Both of them looked up. What? I don't care who you date, sir, as long as it doesn't affect the company. Relief washed over Ethan. Really? Daniel gave a small smile. Besides, he looked at Jiho. It's nice seeing you happy. For the first time all morning, Jiho smiled openly. Thank you. Daniel opened the door. I'll continue pretending I know nothing. As he stepped outside, he paused. Oh, and sir. Jiho looked up. Maybe don't use a couple's selfie as your lock screen anymore. The door closed. Ethan burst into laughter. I can't believe you forgot. Jiho rubbed the back of his neck. You said it was your favorite picture. It is. Ethan walked over and gently took Jiho's hand. I guess our secret just got one more keeper. Jiho intertwined their fingers. As long as it stays a secret. Neither of them noticed. Across the hallway, someone had just rounded the corner in time to see their hands separate as Ethan left the office. It was Lucas, the newly hired finance manager. He frowned. Why did that look so suspicious? Monday morning felt different. Ethan couldn't explain why, but every time he looked up, Lucas seemed to be watching him. At first, he brushed it off until lunchtime. Ethan. He turned around. Lucas smiled politely. Would you like to have lunch together? Oh, sure. From across the office, Jiho looked up from the documents on his desk. His expression didn't change. But Daniel, standing beside him, quietly muttered, Someone's jealous. I am not. You've been staring at them for 3 minutes. Jiho looked away. Continue the meeting. Daniel hid a smile. During lunch, Lucas leaned forward. Can I ask you something? Of course. Are you close with the CEO? Ethan almost dropped his spoon. What makes you ask? You seem comfortable around him. I work in marketing. That's not what I meant. Ethan forced a laugh. I think you're overthinking. Lucas nodded slowly. Maybe, but a thoughtful look in his eyes said otherwise. That evening, Jiho was unusually quiet. As soon as Ethan entered the apartment, Jiho wrapped him in a hug. You smell like the office. Ethan laughed. I was at the office. I know. You're jealous. I'm not. You've said that twice today. Jiho buried his face in Ethan's shoulder. I just don't like how Lucas looks at you. You have nothing to worry about. Ethan cupped Jiho's face. I chose you. No one else. Jiho smiled softly before kissing Ethan's forehead. I know. The next day, the company held its annual charity gala. Every employee was required to attend. Ethan adjusted his navy blue suit nervously. Meanwhile, Jiho arrived in a sleek black tuxedo, instantly becoming the center of attention. He looks unreal. He's so handsome. The compliments echoed through the ballroom. Jiho barely acknowledged them. His eyes searched the crowd until they found Ethan. For just a second, their gazes met. A tiny smile tugged at Jiho's lips. Ethan smiled back before quickly looking away. Unfortunately, Lucas saw everything. His eyes widened. That wasn't the smile of a CEO looking at an employee. As the evening continued, the host announced the final event. Everyone, please find a partner for the ballroom dance. The room erupted into excitement. Before Ethan could step back, a hand reached toward him. It was Lucas. Would you dance with me? The ballroom went quiet. Across the room, Jiho watched the scene unfold. His jaw tightened. Daniel glanced at his boss and whispered, please don't do anything reckless. Jiho slowly set down his glass. Then, he began walking straight toward Ethan. The ballroom fell silent. Every employee watched as CEO Seo Jiho walked across the room. Daniel quietly rubbed his temples. Please, don't cause a scene. Lucas still had his hand extended toward Ethan. So, will you dance? Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came out. Then Jiho stopped beside them. I believe, his calm voice echoed through the ballroom. He already has a partner. Lucas blinked. Sir. Jiho looked directly at Ethan. For the first time since they started dating, there was no cold CEO expression. Only warmth. Only love. The room buzzed with whispers. What's happening? Why is the CEO looking at Ethan like that? Ethan's heart pounded. Jiho, what are you doing? Jiho smiled gently. We've hidden long enough. He held out his hand. Ethan, will you dance with me? Tears stung Ethan's eyes. They had promised to keep their relationship a secret, but somewhere along the way, the secret had become heavier than the truth. Without another thought, Ethan placed his hand in Jiho's. The ballroom erupted in gasps. What? They're together. No way. The music began. Jiho led Ethan onto the dance floor. As they swayed beneath the glittering lights, the whispers slowly faded away. All Ethan could hear was Jiho's heartbeat. I'm sorry, Jiho whispered, for exposing us without asking. Ethan smiled through his tears. You didn't. I was waiting for the day we could stop pretending. Jiho rested his forehead against Ethan's. I love you. I love you too. Around them, the employees watched in stunned silence. Then Daniel started clapping. One by one, others joined in. Even Mina laughed and shouted. I knew something was going on. The tension dissolved into cheers and laughter. Lucas walked over after the dance ended. He smiled sheepishly. I guess I was too late. Ethan scratched the back of his neck. A little. Lucas chuckled. Then let me be the first to officially congratulate both of you. He shook Jiho's hand. No hard feelings. None, Jiho replied. 6 months later, the news of the CEO dating an employee had caused quite a stir at first, but after an internal review confirmed there had been no favoritism or misconduct, the excitement gradually faded. At work, Jiho was still a strict CEO. Ethan was still a hardworking marketing employee who earned his promotions through his own efforts. The only difference. Now, everyone knew why the CEO's face softened whenever Ethan walked into a room. One evening, after another long day, Ethan found Jiho waiting outside the office, with Tofu wagging his tail. Jiho smiled and reached for Ethan's hand. Ready to go home? Ethan intertwined their fingers. Home. Together, they walked away from the office not as a CEO and his employee, not as two people hiding from the world, but simply as two men in love, finally free to be themselves.